And how has your studying these educators change or influence your own perspective on education?
Yeah, I think that's such an important question, because you always need to look back and reflect, because then you realize that how much things have changed. So when I first started, I had so much self-doubt that it took up all my time and energy, and it reflected in how I viewed everything. And I was like all I could see were the clouds, really. But now I look at the world and the misery and the suffering that we are inflicting upon our fellow human beings, wherever it is in the world. And I absolutely believe that education is the key, but it's also the place that needs the greatest reform, and urgently, right? We've had generations go through these systems, and we still have people choosing war. We still have people choosing genocide. We still have people choosing hate every day. And I think so. The system has failed us, or we have failed the system in some way, and we need to figure out where that disconnect is. So what it's taught me is really we need to treasure our teachers so that they can treasure our students. We can't expect teachers to do the work without really feeling treasured as well, and really encouraging that, like, in teachers. But also we need to teach children that nothing is more important than developing that humanity within them, like Ikeda says, and really allowing them to contribute, reminding them that contributing to the benefit and betterment of the people around them is also to their benefit. That's how, like, mutual growth is how we will all grow and prosper. So I think we need to really turn education on its head. We educate for profit now, like you said before as well. It's economics that guides everything, but we need to think about our relationship to nature, to the universe, to each other. And I think it's made me really convinced that I feel like I'm asking the right questions, at least of myself and within my work. And I think it's a drop in the ocean at the moment, but this is where we begin, right? And there's so many people doing incredible work in education that we just need to come together, more and more, people who really believe that this is the time for change. We really need to come together. And like Ikeda, I think one thing I'd like to share is that there's one thing that I really use as my guiding principles for my research, and they're actually from these guidelines that Ikeda offers when he talks about education that encourages the spirit of global citizenship. And he says that it's really what we need to do is develop the wisdom to perceive the interconnectedness of all life and the living, the courage to not deny difference, but to respect and strive to understand people of different cultures and to grow from encounters with them. And number 3 is the compassion to maintain an imaginative empathy that reaches beyond one's immediate surroundings and extends to the suffering of those in distant places. And every time I read it, I get goosebumps, because I feel like it's a very, it's very powerful words that this is really the fundamental question we should be asking, is how do we develop this in our students so that we can do better by each other. So I feel like that's the change, from the self-doubt to coming into this really strong conviction that no, there's something here, and in education that we need to do. I think that's been an interesting journey for me.
That it's so beautiful, and also is to believe, because sometimes when you look at our realities, like, oh my God, we are a bit, but to really have to believe that it is possible, a change is possible, but to have the perspective of long term, and it. We need to start. We urgently need to start. So that's quite interesting. I'm just going to, in terms of closing this interview, so what advice would you give to young educators or students who are passionate about education and spirituality? I've got and one more question after that.
Yes. Thank you for asking, because it makes me think about what it is that I would have also liked to hear. I think one thing is that really there's space for everybody. We need everyone to be passionate about the things that they're passionate about, because then that's how the world will progress, because you need to feel passionately about what you're studying. And if you are passionate about it, then really develop your conviction in it, and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. There's such, I couldn't have reached where I am without the help of my partner, my parents, my family, my friends, but also my colleagues who so generously make time for me to share, impart wisdom, to take me along, and then to pay it forward, to do that for someone else who needs it from you. So like we're all in this circle, and we get and we have to give. So I think really to understand that your research is important, but what's more important is how you feel about yourself as a human being, and how you feel you're contributing to the world. That's the more important thing than than just getting a published PhD or getting getting a degree, because that human connection is what we need more and more people to kind of really cultivate and take forward. So I think really that cultivating a sense of self-worth, asking for help, paying it forward, it's so important. So those are just some of the things I think I would share.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to finalize our interview, where can our listeners follow your work or learn more about what you're doing?
That's very yeah. I'm trying to think. Every time I think about maybe starting a web page, and I feel then I just don't do it. So I don't really have a place where they can follow my work yet. But what is very, very much out there for people to learn more about is the field of Ikeda Soka studies. And it's interesting because not a lot of people know this, but even at Soka University, in all of the Soka system, like the schools and the colleges and the kindergartens, of course, there are a lot of teachers who do follow the value creating approaches in the best ways they can. But these are not all Buddhist teachers, right? They're all non-sectarian institutions. So anyone can go to these universities and schooling systems. And what's beautiful about that is because people are seeing that there is value in this system of education, system and way of seeing, and people are coming into it from many different backgrounds and religions and societies and ways of seeing. So it's very enriching it can be very enriching for anybody. So that's that in that sense. If one wants to learn more about the field of Ikeda Soka studies, I could share some links if you'd like to, if you need to put them up, or
I would, especially the curriculum. It would be interesting what kind of curriculum, what kind of approach do they have in class. Whether it would be very interesting in terms of the day-to-day approach in these schools. So that would be very interesting.
Yes, I mean the schools. I just have to say that all of the system, like the schools and the colleges, etc., they follow. They don't. There's no curriculum that says like this is a Soka education curriculum. That's the thing about it, because when Ikeda, again, even like all of these three educators, when they wrote about it, there's no manual. There's nothing to say that if I tick this box, I'm a value creating educator. A lot of it is really contextual, and that's why it's important for each educator to think about what it is that makes them a value creating educator, or how they can be one, and really kind of meet with the literature and with the academic literature, as well as the literature, like I said, that you find that Ikeda has written about his teachers on childhood, for example, and to really reflect on that and to really understand from a very individual perspective what it means. Because in every country, the way that value creating education is done is as per the norms of perhaps the country that the institution is in. So the approaches come from the teachers, and the approaches come from the underlying spirit of the institution, but it's not always tangible. And that's also one of the difficulties of my research, but it's also one of the most it's interesting, because that means we have to do the work, and no one will be able to tell us, but we have to meet with the ideas of value creating approaches to education and constantly understand what the work is that we need to do.
Wow, thank you so much. So I will put below the free transcript for our audience, and if you have a link, so I will also put below in the comments, and don't hesitate to follow the links to know more. And I just want to say a big thank you. That was a lovely meeting. That was lovely meeting you, and I'm so excited about all of this new development. I'm really happy, and so thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karin, because I feel like having the opportunity to do this helped me learn again, like, and also like look back at my journey and kind of make sense of it in a very deep and meaningful way for me. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So thank you so much. And I cannot tell you how useful it's been for me as well. So thank you very much.